in 12 days that I was going to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. I was living in a place called Marin City, and it was like about a 30-minute walk to the bridge from Marin City. The reason I was going to jump off the bridge was, and perhaps maybe I should just read my experience instead of trying to just relive it from time. I had been one of the first drug counselors in this country, literally. I worked for the Department of Defense, traveled to Vietnam to analyze the drug problem there during the war, before this was taught in any college or university. And we were a part of a group in a place called Synanon, the first drug treatment program in this country, literally, that worked. And every program now is part of Synanon. They copied what we were able to do, which we didn't exactly know. It was trial and error. But in the meantime, I started living a high life. Moved to New York City, hung out in Harlem with movie stars and great singers, and started using cocaine. At a time when people literally didn't think you could be addicted to it. I mean, that was the saying in medical and science. And the reason that was because nobody used it every day. And then as we began to use it every day, we got addicted. And that's when mental health came in with me. And from there, I had to leave New York to escape. I thought if I come back to California where I had family, in the Bay Area in particular, that I could get some help. But instead, my arrogance wouldn't lead me to get any help. But my sister Claudia, who some of you know, smile when I say her name, she told me for 7 years, if you practice this great teaching and you chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you will stop using drugs. By this time, I'd been all over the world. I thought I knew everything with my, again, arrogance, that I didn't need anything except me, except I didn't have me anymore. I didn't know who me was. Without any idea, the only thing I had was my drugs and my arrogance. The arrogance was the only courage I had when I didn't have drugs. But with this in mind, I went to a meeting the same night of the day I was going to jump off the bridge. I saw my sister, as Providence would have it, and I told her I needed help, first time. And she said, be in my house at 7 tonight. We're having a Buddhist meeting. So I had to get high to get there because I was paranoid. And I thought people could read my mind. That's called schizophrenia now. I learned that in psychology. And as I got to the meeting, and I was high, I chanted to this beautiful, powerful Gohonzon we all have, that I will give 6 months to this chant, that if it worked, I would stop using drugs. If it didn't work, the bridge is still waiting. And with that in mind, that was my dedication, having no idea that the vow that I made, and when we make a vow, it is so powerful that we sometimes forget. I had no idea till years later that that vow I made was what changed my substance abuse. Immediately, having been a counselor and seen people fight these drugs for years, that very same night was my last high. Very same night, 34 years. So anyway, years earlier, I had been a gang member in a place called Vallejo, California, in the projects Floyd Terrace. Floyd Terrace is well known. All the rappers still sing about Floyd Terrace. We didn't know it was tough because we were tough. And they came to me and asked me to be the leader because I knew how to embezzle money. But the thing is, unfortunately, 4 of my gang members was killed by the police, 4 of them. I thought it was my fault. 1 killed 2 policemen. He went to San Quentin. They let him out so they could kill him, and he's dead. And so for many, many years, I thought it was my fault until I realized that this Buddhism teaches us about our own karma, and that each of us have karma. Their karma was to die like that. My karma was to lead them there, but my karma also was to lead out. I'm gonna stop talking so much because there's so much to say that I'll just begin to skip some of this because I'm an orator and I learned how to talk instead of drink and get high. But the thing is that I later, having come from Vietnam, found out that I was needed. People I knew was starting drug programs all over the country, my peers. One guy wrote and got $1 million from National Institute of Mental Health, it was called at that time. And he says he had a bachelor's degree, University of the Streets. He had a master's degree, University of the Streets. He had a PhD, University of the Streets. They gave him a little storefront, $1 million, to see what he could do. But in the meantime, I, having worked at University of California, San Francisco, and had my office in San Francisco General working with very hardcore drug addiction, substance abuse, and in those days, the early days of HIV, and I learned all about it all. I was a pioneer on many fronts. Pioneer in HIV and substance abuse, a pioneer in drugs, and then a pioneer in mental health and substance abuse. So anyway, I think I got down to maybe one more minute. And I had this condensed, but you know what condensed mean? You know, we used to read those books called Condensed. You put your own other thoughts in it. And one last thing I wanted to say was, particularly in view of what's coming up very soon, during the Columbine days in Colorado when they killed all those young folks, those high schoolers, a lot of those students ended up in the chaplain's office at San Francisco General. And they sent them to me to tell them how to overcome some of their problems. I told them I was able to overcome my situation by chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I also started a spirituality group in psychiatry where they said the people who came to my groups was discharged early, and they put that into DSM-4. That's the diagnostic manual of psychiatry, is the Bible. So there's so much more to say, but I've said enough. So thank you very much, everybody.